Κύριε Πρέσβη, καλώς ήρθατε στη διαδικτυακή τηλεόραση του Αθηναϊκού Πρακτορείου Ειδήσεων. Πρώτα απ' όλα θέλουμε τις ευχές σας για το Μουντιάλ.
Well, I'm glad to be on Anna's Web TV and I congratulate Greece on getting to the finals. I'm sure it'll be a very exciting time for you in Brazil. It was well deserved and a clear victory for you.
Τώρα, στον τομέα της οικονομίας που μας απασχολεί όλους. Η Ιρλανδία φαίνεται ότι πέτυχε τους στόχους που ετέθησαν από το Διεθνές Νομισματικό Ταμείο και από την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση και βγαίνει στα μέσα Δεκέμβρη από το καθεστώς επιτήρησης. Ποιο ήταν το κλειδί της επιτυχίας, τι έκανε, ποιες πολιτικές οδήγησαν στην επιτυχή έκβαση αυτού του προγράμματος?
Well, Ireland entered an EU-IMF program 3 years ago. And that involved a memorandum of understanding, which was in many ways different to the memorandum of understanding that Greece has with the EU-IMF. But that reflected the different nature of our crisis. Our crisis really began in the financial sector, in the banking sector, linked to property development mainly. And it was the cost of supporting our banking sector and the property crash that happened in 2008 that really led the Irish government to seek assistance from the EU-IMF. So our memorandum and the programme was designed around those issues, in other words, to strengthen our banking system and, as in Greece, to bring our public finances back into balance. But we have managed to keep on track with that programme consistently over those 3 years. So as you say, next month we will be finished with the programme and the memorandum, and we will be returning to the position of any member of the Eurozone and the European Union. That of course involves its own conditions and constraints, and we will continue to have discipline in our public finances, but we will not be subject to the Troika.
Σχεδόν όλοι οι οικονομολόγοι και πολιτικοί συμφωνούν ότι έχουμε πάρει μια υπερβολική δόση μέτρων λιτότητας. Τώρα χρειαζόμαστε περισσότερη ανάπτυξη. Πώς θα έρθει αυτή η ανάπτυξη?
I think it's extremely important for Europe to return to growth. We're seeing some growth, but it needs certainly to be strengthened. And the difficulty is that for countries that are undergoing austerity programs, the growth cannot come from public expenditure. Europe has provided funding, and including here in Greece, of course, for public investment, for infrastructure, and it's very important that those funds are absorbed into the Greek economy as they are in the Irish economy. So we certainly need to see growth. Greece expects to see growth next year and stronger growth in the years ahead. And that fundamentally will change the nature of the austerity programme. If a country can achieve growth, which Ireland has, it becomes much easier to achieve the fiscal goals.
Πιστεύετε ότι μπορούμε να έχουμε ανάπτυξη στην Ελλάδα αλλά και στην Ευρώπη που είναι γενικό ζητούμενο χωρίς ένα σχέδιο Marshall?
Well, Europe has just agreed its multi-annual financial framework which sets out expenditure of the European Union over the next 7 years. I couldn't call it a Marshall Plan for Europe, but it certainly includes major programs of investment, funding for support, for example, for youth unemployment. So there certainly is an element of public investment that must be part of plans for growth. But fundamentally, Greece, like Ireland, also needs to attract private investment. And there are certainly signs that confidence is returning to Greece, and we see examples in Greece of international investors coming here, seeing opportunity and are being willing to invest. and that is what could drive growth here in Greece as in around Europe. I think confidence is essential for investment because all of the other factors, for example, red tape, bureaucracy that may slow down investment, the question of unemployment, all those other issues, in the end, they will not matter if investors do not have confidence, i.e. do not believe that their investment will pay back.
It's the key.
It is absolutely fundamental. And we see that confidence, which was damaged both for Greece and for Ireland, returning here in Greece. And it certainly has returned to Ireland. We can see it in the markets in terms of the yields that our bonds need to provide have become very much lower. So we're now at around 3.5% in the international markets. And so next year we expect to borrow in a normal way on the international markets to meet our needs.
Η Ελλάδα καθώς και η Ιρλανδία και η Ισπανία ζητούν την άμεση ανακεφαλαιοποίηση των τραπεζών από την Ευρωπαϊκή Κεντρική Τράπεζα. Κάτι τέτοιο θα ελάφρυνε το βάρος των χρεών. Τι πιστεύετε γι' αυτό?
The question of recapitalization of the banks is a fundamental issue. We in Ireland have put over 60 billion euro into our banks, partly with European money. Here in Greece, you've also recapitalized and restructured your banks. Europe is now working towards a banking union, because I think it is clear that one of the deficiencies of the Eurozone, the architecture of the Eurozone, was the question of banking, that the systems of banks supervision and regulation was left fundamentally at a national level. Now it's clear that there needs to be a more European approach to banking. And in that process, decisions have to be made, and discussions are now underway in Brussels about how to deal with problem banks. In other words, you have a single supervisory mechanism has been agreed. You also need to agree a system for resolving the problems that may arise in these banks. And this question of where does the recapitalization come from is part of that discussion. And the European Stability Mechanism has funds which could be provided to recapitalize banks. And that really is a part of the goal of the banking union, which Ireland strongly supports.
Η Ελλάδα αναλαμβάνει την Ευρωπαϊκή Προεδρία τον Ιανουάριο. Ποιες ευκαιρίες νομίζετε ότι μπορούν να προκύψουν σε αυτό το εξάμηνο για την Ελλάδα και για την Ευρώπη?
In regard to the Greek presidency of the European Union, that it's a great opportunity for Greece in the first half of next year to take the European Union presidency. Ireland had the European Union presidency in the first half of this year, and we have done an assessment of that, which shows that it's a very important opportunity for a country to demonstrate its ability to take responsibilities in Europe and to shape the European agenda. Greece has held the presidency on 5 occasions over the last 30 years. So we have every reason to be confident that Greece can manage the European Union presidency. But I think it will also bring to the table Greek perspectives. We expect to hear in December from Prime Minister Samaras at the European Council in more detail the plans for the Greek presidency. But the Greek government has already indicated that, of course, the economy and jobs will be its top priority, but there are other areas, including illegal immigration and maritime affairs, where Greece intends to move the discussion forward in Europe. So we look forward to the Greek presidency. it is a great opportunity for Greece once again to play a full role in the European Union, even at a time of economic crisis.
Σας απασχολεί η άνοδος των ακροδεξιών και φιλοναζιστικών κομμάτων σε όλη την Ευρώπη, εν ώψη μάλιστα των ευρωεκλογών του Μαΐου?
I think we have to be very concerned about some of the extremist parties that are emerging in Europe, and I'm sorry to say, particularly here in Greece, because of all the countries in Europe, it seems astonishing that a party would adopt neo-Nazi style emblems and behaviour, considering what Greece suffered under Nazi occupation. And with the European Parliament elections in the middle of next year, I think it's absolutely vital for European democracy that those views which are opposed to European values, that people reject those views in those elections. There will be a wide range of parties competing in those elections, but I feel the parties which simply reject the values of democracy and human rights really must be rejected at these elections.